having the snowball effect that you're just like excited to be here, ready to share, ready to just join in heirs, because you are joint heirs with everybody else of this awesome inheritance of the presence of God. I asked the question Thursday night at Harvest Church, is Jesus enough? If just Jesus is all that you have, is He enough? Is He enough for you? I mean, we're talking about your portion. If Jesus is your portion, if you strip away the leadership, if you strip away the sound system, the guitars, the offering plate, if you strip away friendships, is Jesus really enough for you? It's a tough question. All week long, for me, last week I come walking into the sanctuary and I'm just a sobering, slobbering, that's it. Slobbering mess. I mean, tears. I was talking to Darla beforehand and she's like, are you ready? And I just couldn't answer the question, I don't know if I'm ready. It's like that I had this emotional, tangible, mountaintop experience and I'm just ready to share with you. And so I'm just like, I want to operate like that all week long. And you want to know what happened? Monday came along and the tears were gone. The tears were gone. And I'm just thinking, okay. Am I a liar? Am I presenting something to the congregation that can't be attained because I'm seeking you out, right? Monday morning is here and I'm intentional. I want that experience and the tears were dried up. But the thirsting was still there. The emotional part of it was erased from my life momentarily, and I'm just thinking, what happened? I'm okay with the slobbering, the tearful-eyed Kason. I'm okay with that because it seems like that's a tangible thing. Like people can relate to that, and I want to relate to that because I can relate to emotion, right? I can relate to, slap my hand and I can feel it. Slap my face, I definitely can feel that too. Have interactions with me, and sometimes we laugh. Sometimes we cry. Sometimes our feelings are hurt. And it seems like that is real. That is the real thing. That's the real stuff. More on that in a moment, because I think that we're going to really have to decipher what is real. What is real in this world? Psalm 34, verse 8. It reads this: Bob, you're not alone. Martina did the same thing today. She took her Bible home and she forgot it this morning. So, Martina, you're not alone. Bob forgot his Bible too. Okay. That's why Max, where's your Bible? Help Martina out. You were there expecting to read off Martina's Bible, right? Psalm 34, verse 8. I'm not going to wait on you, Max. We'll be here all evening. Psalm 34, verse 8. Check this out. I'm not going to read very long. Taste and see the Lord is good. Somebody do this. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man. I'm going to say blessed is the woman too. Is it okay? Blessed is the man, blessed is the woman who takes refuge in Him. Fear the Lord, you His saints. Those of you who fear Him lack nothing. The lions may grow weak and hungry, but those who seek the Lord lack no good thing. I'm reading this passage of Scripture and I'm seeing a lot of physical activity here. I'm seeing the tasting. Taste and see. I see the vision. I see something else that is a reality to me. I see hunger. You ever know that feeling? Thursday night, that was not the feeling of hunger. Whatever was going on in there, that was not hunger. And it was ugly. That's as far as I'm going. are realities. Those things that you can feel. The vision, I can see you. I see you. Don't be falling asleep on me because I can see you. Those are real things. Tiredness, if you go to sleep, I understand. Because you think that that's a real thing. I'm tired. That's a real thing. You've had a busy week. I've had a busy week. You know, I've had coffee also. So what am I under the influence this morning? You know, I get the sense of the jitteries of the caffeine that I've drunk this morning. Drank? I don't know. Okay, thank you. But all those feelings, you get these feelings, these emotions, as if that is absolutely real. But there is the question as well. And you can't help but to do this comparison game. And nobody wins at this, so I'm setting you up for a failure. I know what I'm doing here, y'all, when I say, how do you rate your faith? I mean, do you open your eyes and in the morning time that you woke up with a bed underneath you and you have faith that that bed, whenever you laid your head the night before down upon that bed, that pillow, you have faith the next morning that you wake up, that bed and that pillow is still going to be there. Boy, is it a scary thought to wake up the next day and you are not in your bed or on your pillow. But most of us have this faith that whenever you go to bed at night, you wake up in the same place. Anybody else do sleepwalks at night? I don't do that. Just interested. But as far as measure of your faith, would you say that I am above average? As far as that, and so you're comparing, right? So I'm asking you to compare. As far as the average man or woman is concerned, I would consider myself, if this is the learning curve, or if this is the faith curve, I might be just a tad above that or up here. And how do you measure that? How do you measure that? Or you could say, you know, I fall right into the sweet spot as far as what the average man's faith looks like. And the question is, whenever you get to that particular thing, are you satisfied with that? Because you look at the average man and you say, what do they operate under? What faith do they actually operate under? I mean, is it just useless physical stuff that they operate under? I mean, you see it, so therefore you believe it. So if I say something about your faith in God, and I say, where is your faith in God? We say, well, He must exist. Because I look around at other people's faith, and so therefore, if they believe it, He must exist, so therefore I believe. And we fall into this mediocrity, this whole average type of thing. And then if that is the case, if you're there and you're saying, sometimes I have a difficult time believing. And you're saying, you know, if I were to rate my faith, as far as the curve is concerned, maybe I'm just below. Just a question, okay? Are you satisfied with that? I think sometimes we speak of creeds, or even that we say the Lord's Prayer. Just take that in, for instance, and say the Lord's Prayer, and how it begins. Our Father, who art in heaven. Now, granted, I believe that prayer has connotations whenever we say our Father, who art in heaven. We believe that has connotations as if that He is everywhere. Okay? I think that there is theology behind that says that whenever we pray, our Father who art in heaven, we believe that we placed Him above all things, right? But we take it, sometimes, us people of faith, take that for face value. Our Father who art in heaven, who stays there and doesn't interact with us. Father, you are in heaven. And we're satisfied with that. Now, I know, I don't want to put anybody under the bus. Whoever recites that prayer, that's what you believe, okay? But just in the fact that I believe that there is a culture that says, our Father, you stay in heaven. Right? And so, the Bible in itself, whenever we read it, assumes the fact that men can know God. Men can know God as much as you can taste a juicy steak. Or for that matter, let's make it more relevant, a juicy peach. We can know God in taste and textures of a peach. You know, the fuzzy outside of it and the juicy inside of it. And you better pit that thing because it's going to hurt whenever you bite the pit of it, right? You can know God as much as you know the taste of a peach. You can know God as much as you can visualize your best friend. Or, you know, like you say, like the back of your hand. You know somebody like the back of your hand. You know? I think that there is a little bit of sense in which that we look at maybe some of our close acquaintances, husband and wife, although that you guys don't sit next to each other. You guys are in long arm reach back there. You know, I'm glad that you're sitting behind him because if it gets out of hand, you can do that. We need a leash on Max, I'm telling you. Thank you for letting me pick on you, by the way. You think that I know Max is very deep of it whenever I say he can get out of hand sometimes. I'm discerning the spirit over here. But it seems as if that we can know somebody by the way that they look and by the way that they appear. And there seems to be a sense of like this hunger and a thirsting that is referenced to a lion. A lion is dissatisfied with all of that. He can grow tired and he can grow hungry. But on the other hand, what it says in Psalms 34 is that you can be satisfied. Don't look to the lion as his appetite never does cease. God can fulfill that type of thing. But we treat God as if he's a distant type of thing. And the word of it ultimately is you can have an intimate relationship with God. We can have an intimate relationship with God. It says this in these terms: your garments smell of myrrh and aloes and acacia and ivory places. Oh, those are very sensoritory type of things. I can know you like this. There's another place that says, my sheep hear my voice. There's an auditory type of thing that Jesus says, my sheep will know me by my voice. And it says, blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Those are just four random, countless passages that we lean upon. And the more than itself is proof in itself that we can know God in the midst of our senses. And so I ask myself Monday morning, where is my senses going? I don't have this emotion like I had the week before. Do I really know you? And so I'm diving in, and God says, taste and see that I'm good. Because beyond that, I know some of you guys are Zumba fans. I was expecting more Zumba people here. Some of you guys have done like the workouts and stuff like that. I know that Jimmy and Alan are getting together and yeah, do you like this, Alan? Yeah? Woo! Out. But here's the thing is that I think with that particular thing in mind, that I think that in the physical realm, Darla, I'm throwing you under the bus because Wednesday morning whenever she came in, she says, I just want to tell you, she says, I wish sometimes that I had more hunger for God than I do hunger for the elliptical. You know, I think that sometimes we end up in the physical realm. We can exercise our power, right? We can exercise the taste buds. We can exercise the muscle. And it gives us more, if we exercise the muscle, it gives us more awareness of what we can do in the physical. If we end up, I don't know, there's a lot of things that I don't really mean to bring in a conversation about smell or type of thing, but you know, there's multiple times that Cassandra asked me to smell things. And I really think it's because that I've exercised that sense a lot more than what she has. And so I've connected that to the brain a lot more than what she has. So here, just smell this. And she's like, what does this smell like? Is this good or bad? I'm just like, so. But we can exercise the awareness and the physical sense and the smell and the taste and the hear. My hearing is gone. How many times have I said, in the last day? Huh? Maybe because I've over-exercised that. But the truth be told, all this makes us more aware of the physical stuff. It makes us aware of that. But you want to know, that's not the sweet spot. God is saying, taste and see. He's using all these particular things, these illustrations in the physical realm, because He is tapping into your nature. Saying, as much as I'm laying my head down a pillow at night, I have the faith that that pillow is going to be there when I wake up. But whenever we talk about tapping into the spiritual, what muscle is that? What muscle are we exercising whenever we say the faith muscle? Well, we're talking about muscles here, and sensory things here, and it makes us more heightened in awareness. What makes us more heightened in awareness of God in the spiritual realm? We say, in the reality, whenever we say, there's the spiritual world, I'm just going to say, we'll keep the spiritual stuff over here. There is a spiritual world, and then we say, there is reality. As if that there's two different worlds. You want to know what the reality of it is? I'm just going to have to explain what reality is to us. If we believe there is spiritual and there's reality, this is a testing of your faith right here. There's no difference. We are saying there is reality because that we operate in the physical. And then we say, and then there is spiritual. We say, we put this off to the side as if it's a different type of thing. But the truth be told, God has never separated those two. In the realm of who God is, the physical is spiritual. Taste and see that God is good. Taste and see that God is good. There's no separating those types of things. The truth be told, we separate those things because what ails us is faithlessness. Oh, come on. Somebody say, come on, Casey, preach it. Because that's the thing. I think that's really where it lies. Is that we don't have the faith. Because in our hearts of hearts, we operate right here in the physical realm. We don't know how to operate in the spiritual. We don't know how to exercise that type of thing. Because we say, well, the reality of it is that I've got a job. Well, the reality of it is I don't have time for it. Because those are the real stuff, right? Those are the real stuff. I've got responsibility. I've got responsibility to my family. I've got responsibility to my health. I've got responsibility to be accountable to the world, for that matter. And we seem to think that we separate it because this is our responsibility. And the same is true for your spirituality. All those excuses that you say for your physicalness is the same excuses you should be using for your physical nature. There's a reason for my pause there. Question is, what awakens your physical experience? Is we desire physical things. Oh, the feeling of nostalgia whenever some old cartoon comes on Sunday morning. I'm just thinking, wow, that brought me back to my childhood. That was a physical experience, and we think that it was spiritual nostalgia. Oh, the feeling to hold a newborn baby. We think that it's separate. We think that it's physical. And it's this emotion rising up. The feeling that you get whenever you sign on the dotted line for a brand new vehicle, and you get into that vehicle and you go, oh, I love that smell. It's spiritual. But it awakens the physical nature. All those things are the awakening of the physical. I mean, the pursuit of something, the pursuit of stuff, the pursuit of just to be loved, to be held. All those types of things are the pursuit of the physical. Those are the things that awaken the physical. My question is, what is it that awakens the spiritual? What is it? We say it's faith, but I'm saying it's nothing that we can do. absolutely nothing in which what we can do. The very ransomeness of God, the one who gives us his nature is the one. It's my prayer today that God's hand reached down from heaven and he awakens the spirit that is within inside of you. It's nothing in which you can do. Yes, we can pursue God. Yes, that we can follow hard after him, that we're going after him, and we say intentionality every day. Although that I might not be a slobbering bucket of emotion, I'm still going to have the faith that if I lay my head down on God, I'm going to wake up in the morning and God's still going to be there. Even if I don't feel him, even if I don't touch him or taste him or hear him, he is there because God has awakened the spirit man inside of me. Sinfulness is what clouds all that type of stuff. The thing that blocks the desire for that is our pursuit of the physical stuff. We say reality. This is reality. This is the real stuff. Now, if you bought a new car in the last few months or something like that, I'm not preaching against that type of thing. But I think that it is for us to kind of make an awareness, a self-inventory of the things that make us aware. I was talking to Jimmy the other day. I said, I remember, I think that I was a junior in college, and I had this girl that had an extra ticket to go to this Kid Rock concert. She asked me on this date, and I went with her to the Kid Rock concert, and I think in the midst of all that, this is how I discerned, okay? There was people that believed that there was a sense of spirituality awakened in the midst of a concert because there was like a wow, and I was just like, I could get into this. Really? Kid Rock. I mean, I sensed it. It is almost like that it was, for a moment, I felt like I had a spiritual encounter because everybody was like into it, and I was like, join in. You know, I think that's, on Sunday morning when I'm talking about, what should Sunday morning look like? It shouldn't be the momentary in which you taste and see God, for just momentary on Sunday. It's a moment in time in which we invite you to come and participate and say, join in on what God has been doing all week long. Taste and see. There's an invitation for those that aren't just quite there yet. But you're going to join in the celebration because I believe that something spiritual happens. There's a spiritual kingdom that lies about us, that is lying before us. And it's not a prayer for your kingdom to come in the future. Kingdom come right now. I want to participate in that right now, in this particular moment. For the proof of all the statements that I've made, you don't have to look any further than the objects. I was going to preach this, Bob. I've already had this written down, and you can even look at it. But I was so thankful, so very thankful of a Sunday school class, that whenever we asked for prayer requests, I was trying to muster up tears right there, but I couldn't do it. It wasn't fake thing. It was just like, is it coming back? Type of thing. No, it wasn't there. Darn it. But I was so thankful, very thankful, of a Sunday school class that asked for prayer requests and didn't ask for all the physical stuff. That there was a prayer said, we need to be praying for our young people. Because there is a spiritual battle that's going on. There is a spiritual battle between flesh and spirit. And I'm saying, amen. Thank you for affirming what I've already believed, because this is what I wrote down. For the proof of my statements, you don't have to look further than the objects of our prayers. The objects hinge upon the physical stuff. I'm not saying that those are bad. But it seems like whenever physical stuff ends up happening, bad stuff happens, we say, God, interject in the physical. Whenever probably our first statement should be, God, here I am. The most miraculous thing that you can ever do to intervene in the physical is change who I am. In the spirit man. Change who, that's the most miraculous thing that you can ever do, is right here, in what happens right here. But here's our reality. The reason why that we do implore to God in the physical world is because He is physical. I'm not knocking on you ever requesting God to intervene in the physical, because He is reality. He isn't just spiritual in some other realm. He is in our reality. Come on. Here's the thing. It's sprinkled throughout Scripture. It says this. It says, pray in the Spirit. 1 Corinthians chapter 14 says, you should pray in the Spirit. Ephesians chapter 6 says this, for we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, and the rulers of the dark age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness and of heavenly places. You don't pray in the physical nature, because it's not a wrestling of flesh and blood. It's spiritual. That's the reality of it. As feeble as it might be, we say that we are alive because we can breathe, our heart's still beating, and God's saying, there's a passage of Scripture that says, you are dead. You are dead men walking. If the Spirit has not come alive in you, if I have not done a work in you, if you have not allowed God to do a work in you, John chapter 3, He tells Nicodemus, He says, a man must be born of the Spirit. Flesh gives birth to flesh, but I give life through the Spirit. That's the reality. And we're sitting there scratching our heads. But you that have been awakened by the hand and the touch, the regeneration of the hand and the touch of God, you get this. You know what it means to operate in the Spirit. You know that it's your reality. And that faith is arising. Faith is being built up because we don't operate just by what we touch and what we feel. And so I'm saying, God, where's the emotion at? Where's the tears at? It's not about that. That's not reality. That's where reality intersects with spirituality, and they're not separate. It is reality. And so as we begin, and I say as if this is something that we haven't done yet, but I do believe the reason why that God has laid this so heavily upon my heart is because that we have either are dead men walking or we're asleep spiritually. And in those two facts, not all of us, I believe that there are people that are regenerated in this room that have been awakened to the touch and the hand of God. Okay? But the reason why that I think that it's important for us to talk about this type of thing, not as if that it's something that has not been talked about before, but it's come into fruition in the forefront of our minds, is that there's people that have experienced the taste of God, that we have tasted that He is good, and so now it's time to wake up! And there's some that have not experienced that at all. There's people that are dry, that their bones are dry, and they're dead. And I say, arise, come to life, have the faith that God is going to do a work in you, and His hand is reaching down, and He's reaching out for your hand, and the only thing you've got to do is grab a hold of it and have Him bring you to life. And what will that bring about? That will bring about a yearning for the obedience and the hunger and the thirsting for the Word of God. And you want to know what? You can taste and see. You can feel. You can touch. You can smell. You can hear. In the pit of you, that God is real. He is. Not that that is our problem, but it is what ails us. So, as far as our faith faith is concerned, are you the average faith person? And are you satisfied with that? Because what the average person says is that I see your faith. I see you. I feel you. So therefore, God must exist. But in personal experience, that's what he's asking. He's asking you, could you experience him in personal experience? Not because somebody else done it? Absolutely he can. The heavens can't contain him. So don't be praying, our Father who stays in heaven. More and more, I believe that God has equipped us with organs, and I'm talking supernaturally here, facilities in our beings that are meant to grow sharper and more sure that God will become in us great. I mean, this great God. And his presence and his glory and the wonder of him. I mean, have you ever experienced somebody that was walking in wonder? I want to be that. I mean, I walk in wonder. I might not get it, but I mean, God, I'm more aware, and I'm in wonder and awe. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna sing just a chorus of a song, and Carrie, there is a prayer. It's very simple. We don't have to even put up the words to this, but I want the prayer to be put up there. And I want you to hear this prayer. What you don't see is the word amen. You guys know that, right? Oh God, quicken to life every power within me. Do you hear that? Everything that's at my disposal. Everything that is, as far as it depends upon me. Could you bring that to life? That I might lay hold of eternal things. Open my eyes that I might see. Give me spiritual perception. Enable me to taste and know that you are good. Make heaven more real to me than any earthly thing has ever been. Oh, man. I know there's a lot to just sink in. So Phil's going to play, and we're going to, if you want to sing this prayer, or if it comes in the form of the lyrics in which that he's singing, you can. You're welcome to come down. If there's something that God spoke to you, it's just simply a response. God, yep. Today, that's exactly I needed that. That was for me. Respond. I would love to pray with you. It's not for me. It's not for the church. But I believe at the very heart of things, although that there are physical things that are going on around you, I believe the most important thing that God wants out of you is to have a target upon your back and say, here I am, change who I am. Change me first. Amen? So would you pray this prayer? Would you respond? And would you sing? It comes in many different forms. However God is speaking to you, would you just be obedient?
Come, Lord Jesus, come, Lord Jesus, come, Lord Jesus, come, Lord Jesus, Holy Spirit, come. Holy Spirit, come. Holy Spirit, come. Holy
awaken me from my slumber. I've been asleep, Lord. For some, it's the beginning prayer. Just saying, God, you were here and I was unaware. I'm reaching out my hand out to you. I'm asking you to make me alive. And the other prayer that I believe that covers us all. Lord, we're hungry and thirsty. Only you can satisfy. Make us more hungry and thirsty. For momentary, we just want to just wait. We've asked for the Holy Spirit that recreates the character of Christ to come. There's something about being in your presence, God, that changes and reads us. All of our affection, all of our thoughts, I pray, makes us who we are. And as we evaluate that, I pray that those things are tilted and lean towards the goodness, the grace of the one who is alive, Christ Jesus. Amen. Tonight at 6 o'clock,